Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video. This week I'm going to be showing you all the illustrations I did this year for Witchtober 2020. For the full list of equipment, as always, it is listed down below, but this year I decided to limit my palette for Witchtober / Inktober and only use purples, greens and oranges. I did black for line work sometimes, because sometimes I did the coloured line work, and whites for highlights. Other than that, everything was painted using inks. For the paper that I used the aquarelle paper. I've actually been using this a lot in videos. This has been really handy for projects because it's already cut down to size and it's really nice watercolor paper. I've had a lot of fun with this and surprisingly it's very affordable. For the tools that I've mainly been using, I've been mainly using the Kuretake dip pen for doing my line work and of course paintbrushes for painting. For the full list of equipment, as always, it is listed down below with Amazon affiliate links. So the list was actually compiled on my Discord. I asked everyone for a few prompt list ideas and we collaborated up on that project. And this is my interpretation of each of these witches. I sort of kind of wanted to do a tarot card / like card captor Sakura inspired series of illustrations. And the whole point was to challenge myself a lot more than I did last year. Last year I painted with inks and the year before I did ink washes where it was just like a very muted tone with a copper tone put in, and I really wanted to push myself this year by not only painting with inks and limiting the palette but doing a little bit more than I did the year before. Sometimes with these challenge months, it can be quite difficult to get into the flow, and some of these illustrations I am extremely proud of and some of them I really dislike, and that can be the whole challenge when it comes to drawing yourself. I did pre-sketch all of these to save time and limited my time on them each day. So I actually pre-sketched them all in September and each day was limiting myself to a max of 2 hours spent on each illustration. This was so that it was classed as a warm-up for the day and I wasn't spending too much time on this one thing. This is because I'm now full-time as an artist and I didn't want to overspend too much time on one illustration when there was other work to be done. This is a balance that can be very, very difficult when it comes to challenge months, and this is why I do recommend whenever you're wanting to do a challenge month is to start small and go from there. This can be just be as simple as getting an A3 piece of paper and drawing something small for that prompt. I've actually been really tempted to do this for a challenge month, and after I've done Sketchtember out the way, which is technically Sketchmas, which I will be doing something very special for that. Keep an eye out because I'll be listing it up on the Discord. I know I've been talking about it up in the Discord. I want to do a challenge month where I draw small illustrations, and this will be something a little bit fun to do. Something was quite very challenging about this month is it overall was a very difficult month. Normally I'm getting ready for conventions at this time of year, and obviously due to current circumstances that is not something that can be available, so I did have a little bit more time to me, but personal circumstances obviously do get in the way every now and again, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. And there was times when I was looking at some of these illustrations and I was very heavily disappointed with the color palette. At times, I just really wanted to keep the illustrations black and white because I loved the line work, but the second colour went on them, I just couldn't vibe with them. Now I look back and look over some of these and I'm actually really happy with them. But quite a few of them I dislike. I was able to get a really good range of colours by mixing certain tones. So I found that if I mixed orange and purple, I got this really beautiful skin tone, which could range from a darker skin tone to a lighter skin tone, depending on how much water I applied. I was able to get this very nice khaki brown colour by mixing, I believe it was orange and green, and it was just create this gorgeous tonal range, and I was very happy with that. And to create the blue I mixed purple and green and it created this beautiful like sea blue, which I ended up using quite a lot, and that also depended on the hue of green that I used with the hue of purple. So there was a lot of experimentation that went beyond all of this to try and get different colours with the limited colour palette that I used. And this is all to do with colour theory as well, so it was really fun trying to mix all these colours and trying something different. What's the difference between the 3 inks? Now, I have talked about this in previous videos, but the 4 inks that I used all behave very differently. You have acrylic ink, which is kind of like acrylic paint in a way, but it's just in ink form. This works really well. You can get some really bright, beautiful, bold colours with this. Works really well as a lining tool because most of the time acrylic paint is absolutely, it's waterproof. It works fantastically, and I love this as a lining tool. The Court Noir is a drawing ink, and it looks really nice as a lining ink, and because it is waterproof, I've been able to produce some really beautiful results by using this as a liner as well. The Winsor & Newton ink, unfortunately, this is not waterproof. So when I was using this ink, I was mainly using this as my colouring base. This is a drawing ink. Now, drawing ink and watercolour ink behave very differently. Drawing ink, because it doesn't it's something to do, I'm not quite sure about the science behind it. It's way over my head, but it's to do with the chemical makeup of the ink itself. For example, the Rohrer ink, I believe, and do not quote me on this, I believe that the recipe to the Court Noir drawing ink is very different to the Winsor & Newton ink, and I think this is to do with like the recipe in particular that's inside it. If you're really interested in that, it's really fascinating to research up on it, because it all depends on different ingredients that are inside it. And I only know from playing around with the ink and doing a minor amount of research, but if you wanting to understand the science behind it, there is some fantastic videos that go through and explain it, and even simple things like just researching up on their websites will give you a little bit more information about how the ink behaves. Overall, I'm really proud of myself for finishing all 31 illustrations. About halfway through, I was really done with it. I did not want to do anymore, and my brain was just not behind it all. But I'm really glad that I persevered. And even if like people just did one illustration for the entirety of October, you should be really, really proud of yourself. Even if you participate in a challenge by doing one illustration, you have done an illustration for that challenge month, and you should be proud of yourself for it. Challenges months aren't for everyone. I know quite a few people who, when they do challenge months, they take their time with it. So like they'll take the prompt list and take their time with it. I know quite a few people in the Discord, this is their approach to it, and this is perfectly valid. In my eyes, it's perfectly valid because it's about challenging yourself to a point of like you learn from it and you're improving from it, but at the same time, it's not overstressing yourself over that. It's not worthy stressing yourself over it when you should limit yourself. Like I limit myself to the max of 2 hours a day on this, and it was a lot easier to digest. It was a lot easier to process. Whereas if I'd given myself an entire day, I would have just kept working and working and working. I also kept them quite small as well because they're only A6. This was allowing me to work quite small and force myself to work that small on that project. Overall, this was a fun month, and it was really fun seeing everyone's interpretations of the prompt. I kept on like squealing with delight every time I was tagged in it in people's posts, and if you genuinely want to see the amount of talent that is out there, please check out the hashtag Stay Creative with Sophiralou up on the Instagram and on Twitter. I tried to share as much as I could, and it was getting to the point where I was getting tagged in like 40 to 60 posts a day, and like I was just like, oh, it got a little bit overwhelming at some points, but it was so amazing to see everyone's work, and I'm just so proud of anyone who did participate in any way, shape or form, or is using this prompt list for another time. And if you're thinking of using this prompt list and trying it out yourself, maybe you wanting to do some sketchbook work with it, go ahead, go nuts. It is really fun to see everyone's interpretations of the same prompt. It's one of the things I really enjoy. So I will be printing a zine of this, and that will be going up on the store in the next 2 weeks. So if you are seeing this video later, it should be up on the store at a later date. I will be making a community post to let people know. Also, these originals are going to be for sale. As much as I love keeping a lot of my original art, unfortunately I am starting to get to the point where I am running out of room for original art, and rather than getting stored in a case, I'd rather them go to homes where people would appreciate them. So these will be going up on the store on the same day as well. If you're not sure, check out the community posts. I try and update them whenever I have a store update, and as well as that, the book will be going up as well. So that's just a little update for you all. I think this one's my favourite. I'll probably be keeping this one, The Witch Sona, because it's me and Bella. And that is all 31 illustrations I did this year for Witchtober 2020. You'll have to let me know which one your favourite is. I think personally my favourite is Balance, Space, and I really love Necromancer. I really like the darker themes. It just makes me very happy. And oh, and I love Sleepy because of the poppy feel. It reminds me of Wizard of Oz. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and let me know if you participated in the challenge month this month or last month, whenever. What's your favourite challenge month? It's always good to see. Here is some fantastic art that you have tagged me in. Be sure to check these people out. They are all amazing and talented and really deserve a lot of love. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'll see you next Thursday, and as always folks, stay creative.